Yo, yo, yo! It's your girl Rose Gold, and you are tuned in for another episode of Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me, and you will not be disappointed, okay? So, I know I had told y'all earlier this week that I was going to share with y'all how God has just recently moved in my life. And man, when I say He has recently moved in my life, He had recently moved in my life. Man, I say like probably the second week of October, right around the 10th or the 12th of October, there was a misunderstanding when it came to my rent. Very, very long story, but what it basically came down to is I had thought the funds for my rent had already been paid for. So unbeknownst to me, it had not been. And I came home to a letter like, look, if you don't have this money within the next few days, we're going to evict you out of here. And of course, the money that I had paid, I'm like, where is that? Where is that? What's going on? I'm calling my bank like, look, I submitted a payment. What's happening? I'm ready to get evicted. And they letting me know, like, look, your funds are on hold. You deposited a check into a new account, blah, blah, blah. This whole long story. I didn't have the funds. My apartment was ready to put us up out of here. And the day that they were supposed to file eviction, my funds cleared and everything like was great. At that time, I immediately, went on ahead and took care of what I needed to take care of, but not before being thankful. I was so stressed out. I was so anxious. I was at the point where, like, look, man, if I get the money, great. I'll pay them. They'll be able to see. I've already, have my bank call them and tell them what's going on. If I receive the money, I'm just gonna pay up. I'm gonna ante up. And if I don't get the money in time to pay these people, then I'm gonna get evicted, and that just means God got something better. I was at this real, just like defeated, but like conscious place of peace. That I can't really explain. It's only through God, but basically I was worried all the same, and then I finally just got to this place of peace where I just didn't care how it went either way. And I've been evicted before, and it's not a fun thing. It's not a fun thing at all. I've been only been evicted once, but been homeless several times. Just through growing up and things like that, and it's just not fun. Especially I live in Minnesota, man. It's that hot weather. It's not a joke. Right around October is really where the nice few little days come before this winter and this fall hits. So, man, God just moved in my life right on time, man. Just the day that these people was getting ready to go to the courthouse, everything like fell into place. You know what I'm saying? They knew I wasn't trying to play them. It was a beautiful thing, man, and I know that was nobody but God. So I had to just share that with y'all today. You know what I'm saying? You might come across some situations that seem impossible. You may come across a situation where you may feel like, you have to do things in order to make things happen in the right timing. Because I sure thought, I'm like, look, man, I sure thought about a whole different thing. Like, look, I'm finna make these phone calls, man. Listen, if you know me, then you know. But man, I was about to hit back on that road, man, and do what I had to do to get that money cleared right. You feel me? But I didn't have to go down that road by the grace of God. So, had to share that with y'all. Thank y'all for listening to that. Had to give him the glory on that. Now I want to get right into what I am going to be talking about today. You know what I'm saying? I cannot stress to you guys enough the importance of this message today. You know, um, I know everything that we talk about together is important. I know our time together is short, but I really want you to pay attention to what I'm talking about today. And it's going to be the importance of choosing your circle. And we all know that, peer pressure is a bad thing and you're supposed to be your own person, but nobody really tell you how to do that. Everybody just tell you not to be a follower, you be your own person, you be a leader, but nobody really tells you how to really choose your own circle and be equipped with people that can push you further in life. At least not for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't always want to speak for y'all all the time. Myself personally, I was never really shown what I should look for in the circle or like what kind of code of conduct I need to have for the people that surround me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what today's message is about. Vibes are contagious. You feel what I'm saying? Whenever you are surrounded by individuals who have bad spirits attached to them, and I mean spirits as far as, attitudes, certain mentalities that may not be healthy, certain ways of doing things that may not be healthy. When you are surrounded by those people, those ways become contagious. You feel me? And sometimes you don't really know that those vibes have been, transferred onto you until time has passed. You know, whenever you are around people that are dark, or maybe they're not outwardly dark, but whenever you are around people who are rotten at their core, I'm just gonna say it like that. When you're around rotten individuals, you don't really notice when it starts to rub off on you. It's real subtle. You may not know that you begin to use the same slang they use. Then next thing you know, you moving how they move, you dressing how they dress, and you acting the way they act. Now nobody wants to admit that part, but we all do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the people that we around, whether that be your culture, your friends, or your family. We are a product of the people that we are around, man. And who you are around is who you're gonna become. Now that's a very profound statement that I don't think gets enough exposure to this generation, of how you are literally a reflection of the people that you are around on a daily basis. Now for me, I got friends that are across all demographics, right? I got friends of multiple different cultures. I got friends of multiple different age groups, different economic backgrounds, things like that, right? Boom. So no matter how different those people are that I consider to be my friends, demographic wise, the characteristics of them are going to rub off on me if I'm around them for a long period of time. It don't matter if they from China. It don't matter if they from South Africa. It don't really matter what their cultural standpoint is, because your friend circle defies cultural standards. Listen to what I say when I say that. It does not matter where your friends are from. It does not matter how they were brought up. It doesn't even matter where you were brought up or where you're from. Your culture comes second when it comes to your circle, or your group of peers. And I'll tell you how I know this to be true. You could grow up in a household where smoking cigarettes is a bad thing. You may even have relatives that may have died from smoke related illnesses. I guarantee you, and I'm willing to bet my last dollar, that no matter what concrete principles you grew up with about smoking being bad, if you hang out with a crowd of people that smoke, you will eventually smoke. It's a profound thing of human nature, but your friendships surpass even your familial relationships. You know this to be true if you've ever had a teenager live in your house. I've been a teenager before. I know for a fact that what my parents told me came way, 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 way second to what me and my friends was talking about. Now I don't know why that is. You feel me? That's really a mystery that God has not revealed to me yet. I don't know why your friendships, that relationship is so powerful. I just know that it is. I know that my friends have had more influence in my life than any pastor. My friends have had more influence in my life than any teacher, than any parent figure, than any role model. My friends have had the most impact on me. And so when it comes to picking them, there are certain things that you are wanting to be mindful of and watchful of. You feel what I'm saying? One thing you want to be for sure about when you are selecting your group, because it's going to be a new year, so you're going to have time to put this into practice. May need to even eliminate some folks. But one of the key things you want to look at about your circle is, do these people look like where I want to go in my life? Now, that's not to say if you want to be a billionaire that everybody around you needs to have $1 billion in that bank account. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you want to be a billionaire, then your friends, they must have avenues and mindsets to also want to be billionaires. Otherwise, it won't work. If you want to finish your education, Maybe you're in high school and you decide that you want to finish your education. You don't want to just drop out and work a job. If you know for a fact that that's something that you want to do with your life, your friends need to also be on board with that. So just make sure that they're either going where you're going in your life, you know what I'm saying, or they're already there. And it's kind of rare in this day and age to find peers that are where you want to be, as far as like if they're in your age group. You know what I'm saying? If you got older friends, maybe not money wise they're not where you want to be, but maybe family wise they're where you want to be. They may have been married a long time, and that's something that you look up to. Whatever it is that you have talked to God about that you want in this life, make sure that you have friends that are either there or that are on their way there in a positive direction. Otherwise, it just won't work. They will bring you down if their goals and their values are not the same, and it's not because they're bad people. It's just the rules of science. You want to know how I know it's science? That your friends are likely to bring you down more than you are to lift them up if they don't have the same goals. I'm gonna tell you how I know that to be true. You ever rode a bike, right? I used to ride bikes. Alright. Now, if you ride a bike up a hill, it's extremely hard. In fact, it's excruciating pain. Whenever I used to come to a hill when I rode bikes, I wouldn't even try. You hear me? I just walk it up. But when you're going down the hill, it's effortless. Pretty much the only thing you got to do is control the brakes because you don't even have to pedal. The ride down is smooth. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm illustrating this to say that when you have friends that are in your circle who don't have the same goals and dreams as you are going to take a very, very, very quick ride downhill and you won't even notice it till you at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it's just easier for you to go down than it is for you to lift them up. You know what I'm saying? So okay, boom, making sure they're on the right direction, they in the right, they on the right same path as you. When it comes to other areas of your life, and I don't want to get too specific because there's different things for different people. When it comes to how they solve problems, I think it's very, very, very important that you analyze how your friends deal with problems in their everyday lives. If you have friends that medicate instead of dealing with their problems, I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm just saying that they may not be the people that you should spend majority of your time around with. If you come to them with a problem and they're not telling you to pray, they pushing you to get high. They're not your real friends. Not bad people, but they're not the friends that's gonna take you to the next level. And that can be painful to realize sometimes because a lot of times our friends are only operating from their own level of knowledge. They're only able to be a friend to you as much as they seen a friend be. And that's not their fault, but that don't mean that you sit and deal with it. Alright? So be careful, not even be careful. Pay attention to how people in your circle handle problems. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that there's many, many, many other things that you should pay attention to when you're picking out your friends. Um, and maybe we'll discuss that in a later video. But those are the two things that were on my heart. Make sure that they are where you want to go in life, or that they're at least on their way there, and pay very, very close attention to how they solve problems, how they deal with issues in their life, how they tell you to deal with issues in your life. You see what I'm saying? You may be already decided in your mind that the group that you're with is your day ones and your A1s. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to tell you to dump all your friends because I mean, I'm not I'm not you and I'm not trying to be. You know what I'm saying? But there are a few signs you should look into if you think that your circle should maybe change, or maybe you should switch up the scenery. If all you do is talk about other people when you're around that person, there may be room for some change in your circle. If they have lives that are not making any progress, that may be a sign that it's time to shake up things in your circle. This is not for you to make an announcement and tell your friends you ain't on nothing, so I'm finna get up out of here on you. You're gonna come across as judgmental. It's just that simple. You're gonna come across as judgmental, so I'm not telling you to make a big old announcement to your friend and say, you know what? I need to switch up my circle because all we do is talk about people when you're around, and your life ain't making no progress. What you do is you do what I like to call take a mental note. You take a mental note of how you behave when you're around them, the things that come out of your mouth, how you feel, the topics you all talk about. Look at their life over the last few years and see if they've made any progress. See if you've made any progress. And if you cannot give a positive account for those things, then maybe it may be time to change or work on your circle. Shake things up a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not hanging out with people the way that you used to. But there is something wrong with letting your friends determine your destiny because they're not positive. We get very, 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 very few things in this life that are permanent. There's not a lot of things that I can think about in this life that are permanent. Alright? But one thing I do know that is permanent is that we will always have the ability to choose. Even when it comes to you dying. Unless it's an accident, you have the choice to choose to die screaming or to die silent. Your friends is one thing that you can choose, and I've seen many lives destroyed by people having the wrong set of friends. My own life has took turns that it was not supposed to take because I had friends around me that were misguiding me. You feel what I'm saying? I know guys right now doing time, hard time, in both the state penitentiary and the federal penitentiary because they had friends that sent them off on dummy missions. So I'm not talking, to be another parent because I know you already probably got parents telling you who to hang out with. If you grown, you probably got, your family, maybe not your parents, but your family and people in your circle telling you, hey, you should be doing this. I'm not here to tell y'all what to do, but I am here to tell y'all from experience, what life has to offer. And one thing I know that can make or break your choices in life is the people that you spend your time with, Joe. And it don't even take that long. You can literally be a great person and spend 6 months with the wrong crowd and literally turn your life upside down. Like no cap at all. Same. I mean, if you don't believe that, you can compare that to like a romantic relationship. You ever seen somebody get involved in a romantic relationship with the wrong person and then they just downhill from there? I mean, it's the same exact phenomenon when it comes to friendships. So I'm saying, y'all, pick y'all friends wisely. Pay attention. And I know, my second part when I got to talking about changing up your circle, it can be extremely difficult to change up your circle if you've known these people for years. But that don't mean nothing. History is not an excuse for bondage. If you have friends that you've been with for a long time and they've been stupid for a long time, or they've been, not progressing for a long time, they've been negative for a long time, they've been doing unfriendly things for a long time, it's time to get up out of there. And don't be afraid to do that. See, I was afraid to do that at first. I was afraid to cut off certain friends because of the history. I didn't really know who I was because they carried the history of how I grew up. I related to these people on so many levels. Obviously we were friends, but that's not an excuse. And I let that alter my path in life many a time. You know. So as I go ahead and close, if you don't remember nothing else I said today, please, please, please work on your circle. Go back and listen to it a few times and just kind of analyze what I'm saying about what you should be looking for. I thank y'all for stopping in today and kicking it with your girl Rose Gold. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me. And while you're listening, don't forget to hit us up, Heartbreak Hill Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to be on the show, you got comments, you got topics you want to discuss. We also got a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a Twitter. Go ahead and like and follow us on all of those. And don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube channel. Our name is Heartbreak Hill Podcast across all channels and avenues. Y'all be blessed and stay up. Love.